What's up, everybody? This vent session is for our Jets fans. I know we have a ton of them, and they're all kind of hopping in to join now. And I appreciate you guys on a Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning at 11:45. I know the Jets practice is going on, but I don't think there's too much energy around what's going on with the Jets right now. Obviously, the main question is, where is Zach Wilson? When will this Zach Wilson contract dispute? And it seems like every time the Jets are drafting a quarterback, which unfortunately seems to be every few years, there's this major contract dispute. And Sam Darnold a few years ago didn't come into camp until 3 or 4 days later. Now Zach Wilson, we're on day 2 here of the camp. And, obviously the holdup here, just to kind of put it in layman's terms, because I don't like any of the detailed agent talk, contract talk. Basically, the holdup is believed to be over an offset language in the contract, because the contracts for rookies are slated. They're already filled. Lawrence at 1 gets X, Wilson at 2 gets X, and it keeps trickling down. So the money, the guarantees, basically everything is situated. You can kind of make the contract yourself. You don't even need an agent for it. But where you do need your agent to come in is negotiate basically these offsets, when the bonuses get paid, et cetera. In a nutshell, an offset of the contract allows teams to recoup money if a player is cut before his contract is over. So let's say in year 4, let's say year 3, what the Jets just did with Sam Darnold. Year 4 they would have kept him, and then year 4 it didn't work out, and they wanted to cut him. And another team signs him. Most teams do require these offsets. I think like 30 of the 32 teams. I think the Jaguars and Rams are the only 2 who don't. Basically, there's really no room to negotiate a contract, but the Jets and Wilson's agent have found something to negotiate and to have a hold up on, and unfortunately, it has taken it's rolling into camp now, which sucks. It should have been done. There was plenty of time between obviously now and when they drafted him at the end of April, where this should have been all situated. So there's a lot of blame to go around, right? You can there's ton of blame on the Jets ownership side. There's blame on the Zach Wilson camp. Obviously, they had Trey Lance just got his contract done yesterday. He was drafted 3rd. Trevor Lawrence had his contract done, a few months ago. He was picked 1. So you slot Zach Wilson in there, and it's basically the contract is written for you. The offsets basically allows the player to collect money and get paid from both sides. So if he gets cut by the Jets, and signed by Team X, let's say the Texans or something in 3 years, he's allowed to collect from the Jets what they were owed and the new contract that the Texans pay him. And obviously what the Jets are negotiating over is $2 or $3 million. And I think it's more of a principle thing. I don't think they really care about a $2-3 million addition or subtraction a few years down the line. It's more of setting a precedent. But you have to be careful when you do negotiate contract like this. And I've talked with a few agents for players who have dealt with the Jets, and to be honest with you, and nobody wants to hear it, they do not love dealing with the Jets because of things similar to this. So you have to be careful, because this gets around, and Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh have done a good job to kind of revamp how the Jets are viewed around the league, and they both are great relationship builders. So they have the 2 right guys in-house here. You just wish that they were kind of be more allowed to be in front and center, behind the scenes rather than front and center, and deal with these contract situations, because Woody Johnson, a few of the other guys who he has behind the scenes, his contract guys, money people, they're doing a disservice to Zach, to Jet fans. And the most annoying part is it's an unneeded negative energy around the team. And you could just tell, even from reporters talking about, basically there was no energy at camp yesterday. Nobody really wants to come in and see James Morgan and Mike White compete for a backup job. They wanted to see Zach Wilson, and practices open up to the public, I think, on Saturday. And if he's not there, why would you go? I want to let you guys come in, and if you guys want to join, comment in the chat running. We'll throw your comments up there. We have a few guys backstage already who want to hop in and just vent. This is what it's about, man. Like, I'm a Jet fan. Frank, who is with U Stadium with me, runs U Stadium as well. He's a Jet fan. We're frustrated. We're not over the top and like anxious to get this done or pissed, but it's just like, this is unneeded right now. It's a story now. It's going to be a non-story in 2 or 3 days. Hopefully, when this is situated and he's in camp, nobody will remember it until next time this comes around, which hopefully isn't for another decade plus. But Splash, if you want to bring in Maverick right now, he's behind the scenes. I want to let him go off. I know he was waiting to hop in. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just not pissed or not nervous about anything, but you just want to see the kid in camp,
Of course. I just feel like Woody spent all off season trying to get people to be on his side. He had someone running his Twitter account. He was making himself accessible. And then once again, of course, when we're talking about a contract, right, whether it's Marcus May or now Zach Wilson, it always seems like we have a problem getting these people signed. Now, I'm not saying Zach Wilson's agents don't play a role, because they held out Joey Bosa, and they also worked with Darrelle Revis' contract years ago. But this is kind of ridiculous. We are a New York team. We're trying to start a new era, right? For us to be excited about after that garbage with Adam Gase. And then on top of that, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Manish Mehta put out something where there's a guy named Ira who runs the back channel.
It's Woody's right-hand man.
Yeah. And in order for Joe Douglas to ask to get money, he has to go through him, because this guy runs the budget. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's frustrating. And like you said, Woody spent all off season kind of, whether it's him or not, or an intern, whatever it is, who cares? I guess we'll really never know. But he spent all off season getting out in front, promoting the team, being buddy with the players. And it was needed because, the Jets really have had no image since Rex Ryan left. And Saleh has come in and really kind of brought some of those vibes back. And Woody kind of, fell in line with where the positivity was going. Like, it was a very positive offseason for the Jets. Like, the free agency went well. The draft looks really good. The Saleh hire, obviously, people are excited about, and Douglas and Saleh are really rebuilding the Jets' reputation, where it tanked. It went into the garbage the past 10 years. And Woody kind of followed the leader here and was posting some really cool stuff, was interacting, coming back from when he was overseas. And everybody was like, wow, like this version of Woody Johnson is kind of cool. And then here we are now. I don't think anybody thought it would have played into camp 1, 2, going on 3 days now, where Wilson wouldn't be signed. And it just kind of reminds you, which is so annoying, because the negative vibe trickles down. Like, it trickles down from coach. Salah's got to be asked about this. It trickles down to Corey Davis, a newcomer, the young receivers and Mims and more. They need to be building this rapport with your young quarterback. So it's an annoying, unneeded, unnecessary negativity around a team, where it felt almost as if there was a shift going on and we were kind of getting back to some positive vibes. So it's more annoying than it is a big deal, right?
Yeah, it's frustrating. And like you said, it feels like every time we're about to get into this like positive thing going forward, they pull the rug right out of you, right under you, and you're back on the floor again. And it's like, well, what do we do? Even it makes me feel like, like every time there's something good that's going to happen, of course, because we're Jets fans, we're always waiting for something negative to happen. We can't just enjoy the moment. And it sucks, man. But
yeah, it does.
Thank you for having me on, bro. I'm just going to continue.
Thank you for coming, bro.
Of course.
Take care, man. Be good. Right, we got Payne, very fitting name. Payne is in the background. And the real Lavitt, that's a good point. We'll definitely touch on that. And if you want to hop in and kind of make your point here about the offset and how it really isn't the Jets, fault for this, I'm more than welcome to have you hop in. So definitely do that. What's up, bro? How you doing?
What's up, man?
Not much. What's going on? I could tell by the sign-in screen name, you're a little frustrated.
A lot of pain. I was just wondering, how do you think the fans are going to react Saturday if he's still not at practice? Zach Wilson.
It's a good question. I mean, I think you can see where it was going over the past few days, right? Like a few days leading up to camp, when I think they reported the 27th, which was Tuesday, or what day is today? Thursday. Yeah, Tuesday. And people were like starting to get a little fed up. They're like, all right, you want him to be here on the first day. You want those good vibes to start. Then overnight Tuesday, nothing happened. Wednesday morning, they started actually getting on the field first, and you saw the switch. Fans were getting pissed. Now this morning, all through last night, nothing. You see Trey Lance signed early yesterday.
Yep.
Then you just felt the buildup, right? And then this morning, now it was like we saw Mike White and James Morgan shit the bed. We don't want to see these guys. There was nothing. What am I watching for? Like to see some slam patterns, to see toss plays, right? Like I don't care about any. I want to see the new quarterback ripping the ball, like throwing it around to Elijah Moore and company. But I think if this lingers into tonight, tomorrow, Friday night, Saturday, and they open practice, it's going to be a shit show. Like we're going to see, people are going to show up with signs,
Yeah, I think the fans are going to be really rowdy if he's not there on Saturday.
And honestly, good. Like, it's the first time fans, it'll be 2 years since the fans or a year and a half since they've been able to kind of see their team in person, or at least, get out in public as a group and, watch the Jets. So there's already that built up or pent up anxiety for it. Add in something like this, like I think you're right. I think fans are going to be really pissed, and it would serve them right to kind of find a middle ground here, because what the real Avid said is true. It's dangerous to allow offset language in a rookie contract. You give it to a kid who's never played before. Now you're just setting a precedent for future negotiations. So there is. You try to look at it on both sides, right? Because you want to you want to blame the team or blame the player, right? So you're saying, oh, this kid hasn't taken a snap. He is this, selfish, rich kid that, some people were talking about before the draft, right? Or you want to blame Woody Johnson, cheap, what's he doing? Get this guy into camp. What are the Jets doing? So people are looking for different avenues to put their blame, to place blame. So I do get where the Jets are coming from. And obviously with Wilson and his team, you're trying to basically earn or protect as much future compensation or your financial flexibility going forward. So it's a tough situation, but every team has done it. Like every team has taken care of their guy and has negotiated a contract, and they're all in camp. He's the only one, who hasn't yet. Are you going on Saturday or no?
No, I'm not. But
no.
I'm kind of leaning towards, I'm thinking this is more of like a Jets thing, because I know a lot of people have said this, but it's happened in the past before with former players. Like I know for a fact it happened with Darnold, and didn't Q have a problem with this too?
I think it seems like the first round picks seem to have an issue with the Jets. I'm trying to remember with Becton if there was anything.
No, I think
last year
his was smooth. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it seems to be top 5 picks, right? Because that's and quarterbacks, because that's where that's where the contracts get difficult. When you're paying guys, Q is a top 5 pick, so that money where that the contracts are slotted in the top 5 is different when you start going to 11, where Becton was picked, or so on down the line. So it seems to be something with guarantees or whatever it may be in the top 5, or with quarterbacks. So it's frustrating. We tried to bring some positivity when we tweeted out the other day, like he's going to be here tomorrow or today or tomorrow. Yeah. Like, stay calm. I know Jeff fans love to freak out and obsess over things like this. So
it's just frustrating because like we had such a good off season, it seemed like, and now our guy's not even here in the first couple of days of practice.
No, it is. It's total like blue balls. Like, it happens all the time with this team. Like you're built up, you're all excited about it. They've been waiting, felt to me, I know some people said the opposite, but to me, it felt like such a long offseason. It feels like another year ago that they signed Carl Lawson and Corey Davis, right? So, add in Elijah Moore, add in Vera Tucker and the draft they had, adding Morgan Moses. You want to see this offense, like, think of the offenses we've had to watch since, I guess you could say 2015 when Fitzpatrick was here with that fluke season, but it's been like bottom of the barrel, man. So now they have some young, talented players, and you want to see it all on the field, and now you have to wait another day or 2 or 3. So it's annoying. But hopefully, in a day or so, or 2 days, 3 days, he'll be there and he won't miss a beat. Because on the field, and why I say it's a non-story, it'll be a non-story. Missing day 1 of camp yesterday, day 2 today, even this whole week, the first week of training camp, it's kind of just like getting these guys' legs under them. They're not really installing too much. They're not doing too much. They're not hitting, so not that Zach Wilson needs to get hit at all, but they're not really kind of ramping it up yet. But it's just not a good. The optics aren't good. And Chad Johnson tweeted before, like, and I totally agreed with him. What are you doing? You're trying to set like this new precedent, like there's a new vibe around the team, and to have this be the first kind of example that they go through is it's just bad optics.
Buzzkill, yeah, it's terrible.
It is.
And
what
Frankie commented too about the skill position players. Like it's probably affecting them too, honestly, because
it is.
Like
how is Corey
Morgan and
what's
White
he doing in
throwing to
for? Exactly. And I read some of the beat reporters yesterday said they kept everything very short, very vanilla, I guess you could say, and they didn't even try and push the ball down the field at all. So you have guys like Corey Davis, new team, Elijah Moore, rookie, Mims, even though he's working with the new, the first team, second team. These guys want to get out there and show what they've been like. They've been training all off season, working out, staying in shape, coming first camp. They want to get going, and now it's just like, hey, everything's underneath, everything's a running play. We're just gonna, try and not open the playbook up to any of these guys because for what reason? Right. Both of these guys probably won't even be on the active roster, to be honest. So it's frustrating. But other than that, what's before we'll let you run? What's your? I mean, obviously predictions are tough, but what's your prediction on the 2021 season?
I'm hoping for 7 wins because I have the over at 6, and I'm hoping they can get to 7. So.
All right. Oh, you took the. Is he over 6 or 6.5?
I got it at 6.
All right. So you need that 7 wins. I mean,
I think they won the extra
now.
game. I mean, they won 7. I know the schedule towards the end it was kind of fluky, but they did win 7 with Gase. So
that's true. But, yeah, people forget about that because it was, they were 0-what to start the year, and then it was just or 1 something to start the year. It was just a miserable year.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, bro. I appreciate you hopping on. Hopefully this gets done soon.
Thanks, man.
All right, so we got 2 people in to vent. I know Frank is throwing up some questions. We can run through. I'll run through some of the questions that were posted. Such a shame. This is by Jeff Alfonso. Such a shame that allows the LOL Jets narrative to stick around with a new regime. Very true. I mean, that's the number one issue that I have is the energy around the team, because as not to sound like some hippie or something, but it's true. Like, and you could just tell with some of the receivers, it's frustrating going out there and really not having this kid who you've heard all about, the number 2 pick, and you're going out with 2 guys that are probably XFL players in a few years. I mean, it's a bad vibe, and the optics, again, I keep using that term, but it's so true. So it's a good point, Jeff. Oliver said it's ridiculous. Just give him what he wants. Yeah, I mean, it's a negotiation, so I understand on the Jet side why they don't want to just fold and cave and give him whatever, but there comes a time in a fruitful negotiation that you have to at least meet at a middle ground, and that's what the Wilson camp is probably saying. Hey, well, we're not just going to show to camp and try and push the Jets cards more, or push their cards more to the middle of the table and try and figure out something that makes them work, that makes it work. I don't even know. I blame ownership. Yeah, I mean, that's where most of the fans are going to blame, right? So you don't want to blame Zach Wilson yet. He's not, and his team is not, completely not to blame here. I know that's kind of worded weird, but they do deserve some of the blame here too, obviously, as well. And if he's the only one not in camp, well, what's the issue here? These Brian Arnault, like, he represents other clients that were first round picks and got deals done. So why is Zach Wilson taking longer than other guys? So there's definitely blame mostly to go around, but I agree with you. I think, and the Jets ownership doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt here, right? I think we're all in agreement. Like, they've been so bad for so long that when something like this happens, they don't deserve any benefit, so it's going to be mostly targeted or geared to the ownership for sure. And Jet fans don't want to blame Zach Wilson and start off on a bad route with him. GNAT says both sides need to figure it out. Jets need to pay Zach his full signing bonus, and Zach needs to understand offset language is standard. I mean, that's exact. In a perfect world, dude, you're 100% right. There needs to be the middle ground here. That is ridiculous that it's taking this long. Like I said, Lawrence got his contract months ago, or last month. Lance got his yesterday. Wilson's in between. Figure it out. This Wilson no-show is so upsetting. I could literally care less about the rest of practice. 2K06. I agree, dude. It's like I love following the training camp. I like seeing, especially the new players in the shells or half shells, whatever they're in. But to me, it's like I don't have much intrigue right now to watch a Mike White and James Morgan report, because honestly, and I hate to say it, and I'm going to knock on wood, the only report that would matter right now is an injury, and I don't want to think about that. So I don't care if someone looks good or bad in practice with Mike White throwing them the football. It doesn't matter to me. MBK says, imagine worrying about the stupid shit that's 3 years down the line. What's even worse is you don't want to have to even think about this period. Like, if you love this kid, you drafted him too, you spent all off season flying back and forth, COVID tests to watch the game, COVID tests to leave and return. So you, not only like a normal year where you would go back and forth, you're going through the COVID protocols to fly out to BYU, which isn't a short flight by any means, but you're sending scouts out there every week to see this kid, and now you invested so much in him to worry about him not being the guy really sucks. So we have Austin backstage now. We'll bring him on. I think Austin was the one who mentioned about not totally being the Jets' fault here. What's up, bro?
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. How's it going?
Good. I know it's frustrating. Everyone knows it's frustrating. It's easy to blame ownership. It's easy to blame Joe Douglas. It's easy to blame Zach. But at the end of the day, it's a very scary precedent if you just let a guy who you drafted with no NFL experience to all of a sudden decide that he gets certain language in his contract. Because then when it comes time for Marcus May to get his extension, or Quinnen Williams, or any Elijah Moore, whenever those come along, you have to add. They're going to be like, well, I've played. You gave it to him. Why don't I get it? And when those contracts get bigger, so right now they're slotted at, I think, around $1 million, right, per year. But once those contracts get bigger per year, that's a lot of money that ends up becoming dead cap on the Jets roster. And then they can't do all the signings that everyone wants them to do. So it becomes a real big issue if you start letting someone with, look at the Jaguars. They've struggled for years because they've been just giving out that offset language, and now they're full of dead cap money, and it shows.
Well, the Jets are paying about $20+ million in dead cap this year alone to Tremaine Johnson. So it's absolutely a sticking point for the team side, and obviously the agent side is to do best by his client and get him as much financial flexibility or to build your potential to make as much down the line. But with, and it sounds like I don't know if you want to give a background on what you do or what you've done. It sounds like you're well informed on the negotiation side or have some insight to it. But in terms of a deal like this, why are the Jets, it seems like the only team to have these holdouts now with multiple quarterbacks in the past 5 years under the new rookie wage scale, which took into place, I forget what year, maybe 2008. Why are the Jets the same team now that have been operating this way and actually have had their quarterback hold out?
Yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? And I think part of that comes in the fact that it is New York, right? So when it was discussed that the Jets were no longer going to get Trevor Lawrence, who was, in a lot of people's estimate, the clear number one. Once the Jets moved on, all right, we're getting Zach Wilson, it seemed like a lot of people started changing their perspective on Zach Wilson because it is that New York media. They probably dived into more about Zach Wilson. They rated him higher. And now all of a sudden, Zach Wilson's in the media, and you have Chris Sims saying that he's the number one guy in the draft. Whereas if you asked a lot of scouts, I'm sure they would have said it's Trevor Lawrence by a landslide. So now when it comes time in these negotiations, you look at it with the New York media and everyone building up Zach Wilson. He's like, well, Trevor Lawrence got it, and people rated me as the number one quarterback. Why should I not get that offset language? Whereas Trey Lance is a little bit different, right? He was never considered that number one quarterback in the draft. So I think there are things with the New York media that give players maybe a little bit more of like, oh, I deserve this, whereas maybe they don't just yet. Now, that's not to say Zach Wilson isn't the number one quarterback in the draft. He very well could have been and could be in the future. We don't know. But it's that presence of where they go on social media all the time, and now they're seeing, all right, I should be number one, and they want to be treated like it. And I think that's the biggest situation that we're at right now. I do think in the past we haven't had guys in the right position making the decisions, whereas now I think we have a better front office and a coaching staff. But But I think that it comes down to Zach Wilson, and not him specifically, but his camp need to be humbled a little bit that giving that up, it'll get really scary in the future for the New York Jets, and it's something that, as many reports have been coming out, that they can't budge on that, and I understand that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's good stuff. You don't really hear too much of that in the media. It's mostly just like, oh, get your ass to camp, or oh, the Jets, or the Jets are LOL Jets, right? So it's good to kind of have that middle ground, and that's what both of these sides need to come and find right now, right? It's all right if the Jets aren't budging on that offset. Where can they budge? So that Wilson feels like he gets something in a negotiation.
Where that comes into play is so when it comes to these contracts, everything's slotted. As I said earlier, but there are ways where you can give the money earlier, rather
than the bonus is paid up front.
Maybe say, okay, we're not going to give you that offset language, but we'll give you more of the guaranteed money earlier in the contract, and that might be a way to get a middle ground. Now, obviously, I'm not in these negotiations, so I don't know if it's offered or what's going on, but there are definitely ways to make it work with we're having to worry about that offset language being an issue. And so that's the part that becomes frustrating, right? Why haven't they found that middle ground, whereas other teams have been able to?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And that's what I mentioned in the beginning of the show is where do they meet in the middle and say, all right, we're not giving you X, but here's why. So basically, and I know Joey Bosa a few years ago went through a similar situation with the same agency. And what he did was switched agents within the agency from Brian to, I believe, Todd France. Do you see, I mean, a total speculation, like, do you see a point where Zach Wilson says, all right, this isn't good for me. This isn't good for my image. I love these guys. They're trying to do what's best for me. Obviously, I need to see what's in the best interest for me, but I also need to see what's in the best interest for the team. And I understand it. Does it come to a point where maybe they do the good cop, bad cop here, and Wilson switch up, the person who's representing him, stays with the same agency, but kind of switches up who's holding down the fort here?
That's very interesting. I don't see that happening. I just think they're obviously different situations, but the family that Joey Bosa came from was very outwardly spoken and
involved,
very much so. I think and
they're the Mannings of the defense.
There are other things going on in that situation than just contract, but where it comes to Zach, at the end of the day, if he wants to be on that field, I mean, he just tells his agents, just do it on the field.
Right. Now he's a quarterback here, not a defensive end, not a receiver, not a corner. Totally. You're the guy. There's no competition. He is the starting quarterback. You rarely ever see that. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times, like even Lawrence, for example, you knew he was going to start, but at least there was somebody in Gardner Minshew who's played, had taken NFL snaps. And usually whenever someone's drafted, that's the case. Like Zach Wilson has the same amount of pass attempts in the NFL as his two backups. So there comes a point where Wilson's going to have to say, I'm sure if this lingers on, hey, this is a bad look. It's a bad start for me. I got to kind of maybe think less about me in 4 years, and I have to think about what's in best interest for the teammates and this team going forward, because he is the leader of this football team. This team is going to go where he takes them. It's not like Joey Bosa, who, the defense will miss him if he's not there and the team will miss him, but they could still win football games without him.
Yep. And I think it's also important to note that we are only 2 days into training camp. In the grand scheme of things, when this contract gets signed, if it's 4 days from now, it's going to be just like Sam Darnold was. It'll be in the rearview mirror. No one
exactly. Like I said, it's a story now. It'll be a non-story in a few days.
It's just annoying. It's just frustrating and annoying, to be candid, that it is a story right now when it really shouldn't be. But I think it's also important to point out that this is the NFL. It's not the NBA, and it's different when it comes to contracts and players. Whereas the Jets, cave on everything they want, they're in a sticky situation. I mean, even if you look at the situation in Green Bay, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was convinced he's never going to play. And there is nothing that they did with that contract that made him, besides making the final year a void year, he's still under contract for 2 years, and next year still won't have the choice to decide to go where he wants to go. But he decided to come back at the end of the day because, it's hard to say I'm going to give up that much money.
Yeah,
the NFL is not willing to budge on situations like that, especially the front office, because instead of, like I said, the NBA about having to worry about 12 players, 15 players, the NFL has to worry about 53. It's a massive difference. So I do see it getting done. I think it's going to be one of those things where one of these nights we go to sleep and then we wake up with a bunch of notifications saying that Zach Wilson's been signed and he's on a plane to New York.
Yeah, it's true. And then people freaked out, 2 nights ago when everybody was flying east to show up at Florida Park, and Wilson posts he's flying west from where he lives in Utah to Cali. So it was like, oh my God, what's going on? So Austin, I appreciate that. Yeah. Really cool insight. Hopefully, like you said, I see you repping the Jet shirt there. Oh, yeah. I love the throwbacks, the best logo. Hopefully this gets done soon. Like you said, tonight I could totally see what you said, is, kind of those late 2 a.m. things where Wilson's just like, I got to get into camp and get this going. But appreciate you hopping on as always.
Glad I was able to spark it up with you a little bit, and hopefully we're all not suffering too long.
I agree, man. Hopefully we get out there and we can tailgate or something and check out one of the games, bro.
Sounds good. All right.
See you, buddy.
Yep.
See, that was great. I mean, like, you have more of the like hardcore, like get this shit done fans, and then you have like, Salah's about to speak to the media, so I'll cut this a little bit so everybody can go check it out. I'm sure the first question he'll be asked, I guess now as camp wind down for the day, the first question he'll get asked is about Zach Wilson. So, but it was good to get, Austin, who has a little bit of the negotiation / contract / agent side view or history too as well. So I appreciate you guys hopping on and listening. Wanted to keep this about a half an hour. I don't want to go too long because we can bring in so many people to kind of say the same thing, but hopefully this does get done, tonight now, obviously, but hopefully this gets done tonight. And by Saturday, that Saturday day is going to be interesting because it's the first public practice. And if he's not there, it's going to be ugly. And if he is there, it's going to be really exciting. So we'll throw up Allie's comment to sign us off. Sorry, even when shit looks good for us, things go wrong. I'm going to say Zach Wilson will be a full-blown plus and feel. All right, Allie, we're going to have to take a step back from Twitter and Jets news for a day. Promise me you're going to take a 12-hour break, go out, get lunch. It's kind of shitty out here, and I'm in White Plains in New York. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I think we're getting some rain today. Go watch a movie or something. Turn off the Jets news. I'm sure you'll get that notification when he signs, if he signs today. But take a deep breath. He'll get signed. He'll be in camp, and we'll all be okay. And then we'll talk about if he's a bust in a year or so. So hopefully he's not. Hopefully he's not. I mean, I think as a fan base, we deserve it. But I appreciate you guys for coming on, Austin, Maverick, Payne, Splash for doing the production work, all the comments in the chat. We got Salman, Zuby, Zachary, David, Frank, obviously, Patrick, Rob B, Oliver, 2K, MBK, all you guys, thank you for the comments. Next time we do this, let's get your pretty faces on there so we can do a event sesh. LD, Louis Davio, you're never gonna see me panic. That's pretty awesome. So appreciate the live update here on what Salah has said. It's great to hear that. Obviously, he's full of shit because he's got Mike White. He's not panicking because Wilson will be there, but I'm sure he's saying, hey, can we wrap this up? I don't want to see Mike White and James Morgan. There's a reason why the Jets are already working out Josh Johnson and Sean Mannion. Not that those two guys are, Peyton Manning or anything, but compared to Mike White and James Morgan, they kind of are at least Andy Dalton. I'm sure the Jets will sign a veteran at some point, and Mike White, Morgan, maybe they'll try and sneak them onto the practice squad. But regardless, hopefully he just gets signed. We don't have to do this again for everybody's sake. Hopefully the Jets get out of training camp and preseason relatively healthy. And hopefully it's a fun season. We'll be doing a lot of these. You can catch me tonight with Frank and Brianna on Timeout with You Stadium. 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll obviously talk a little bit about this Wilson stuff, but obviously we don't want to go too in depth about it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Like the stream, like, comment, always. Download the app if you haven't turned on the notifications. We have a lot of cool stuff coming this season, including a new feature where you can get incentivized for your opinions, which is awesome, if they come true, of course. Follow the Instagram, the Twitter, do all that fun stuff, and subscribe to the YouTube if I haven't said that already. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the weekend, and we will be back on here soon. Take care.